Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Break free from the forces holding you back. Get the life you deserve. Eliminate stress, reduce anxiety, decrease depression, and start living your full potential. Thousands have used Dr. Foojan Zeine's awareness integration theory, an evidence-based behavioral health breakthrough with incredible life-changing results. Getting rid of past trauma, having fulfilling relationships, increasing earnings, and living their best life. Now, the Foojan app is available to everyone. The app is Dr. Foojan Zeine's awareness integration theory in the palm of your hand. Download the Foojan app today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inner Voice podcast, a heartfelt chat with my beautiful guest and you, beautiful listeners and viewers. I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine. I'm a psychotherapist and author and the originator of the awareness integration theory. So great to be with you today. In this episode, I chat with Bill Murphy. He's a nationally recognized mortgage originator who has been a top producer for over 25 years. Since 2017, he has served as a business coach for the Fairway Ignite program. From 1993 to 1998, he worked as a Worcester Department of Youth Service and Juvenile Counselor. He's the marathoner. He is an ultra marathoner, an Ironman finisher, and has a second-degree black belt in Krav Maga. He's raised $500,000 for Make-A-Wish Foundation and actively supports several charities, including Fairway Care, the American Warrior Initiative, and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. He's the founder of the nonprofit Thrive Foundation. Why is he here? Well, we're going to be talking about his latest book, Thriving in the Storm. He talks about 9 principles to help you overcome any adversity. We conversed a lot about how, for his own journey that he writes in this book, and what he has learned about how to go in, how to look at the different angles of who he is, how to change his mindset. And that is the part that has given him the strength to move through all that has happened to him. And he shares all of that with all of you. Subscribe to this podcast, my YouTube channels, connect with me through my website, Foojanzeine.com. And you can go to Foojan.com for the app, the Foojan app, or any of the social media. I'd love to hear from you. Give me your comments, give me topics that you want to talk about, that you want, the guests that you want me to bring, people you want to hear from. And just chat with me. I'd love to know you're out there because we're talking to you. So without further ado, here's Bill Murphy. Well, hello and welcome, Bill Murphy. It is so nice to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dr. Foojan. I'm excited to be here.
You have published your book, Thriving in the Storm, 9 Principles to Help You Overcome Any Adversity. So share first about why this book.
It actually started out with we're all capable of way more than we ever think is possible. And I actually, when I would journal and I would write notes for years after my runs or workouts, because that's when all the dopamine and the endorphins and all these incredible feelings and elation overcomes, and I get some great ideas with this. And so, I was training for an Ironman in 2019, and I only trained for 6 months, and everyone that I talked to, coaches and peers and online forums, said it's really hard for you to do this. You could get injured, you could get hurt, you don't know what you're doing. And I didn't. I had been running marathons, but I hadn't swam in 30 years or didn't even have a bike. So the Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then followed by a marathon on top of it. And so many people said that it's really impossible to do that within that short time. So after I finished it, even though I was overcoming all my self-doubt and I grew up feeling unworthy just because of my childhood, right? And so all of that played a role into the start of it. But when I finished, I was just like, if you put your mind to it, we can achieve so many things.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, just to keep the self-doubt out.
And it's so important because you said something which is very important. The model that I created, awareness integration, is part of the reason I brought in that no matter how a goal you have and no matter what you want to do and go forward, there are going to be things from your past that are going to come in and sabotage you if you're not watching it. And it's exactly what you were sharing, which is I sabotaged myself if I wasn't going to be looking at it. The moment that I started looking at what I needed to take care of, and by taking care of myself and watching what it was, then I could thrive. What was it that you started looking at? How did you become so aware of what was the obstacle in front of you, as you said?
It's the focus. I mean, it's sheer focus. You can't. Here's what I thought. If I followed the training and I listened to my coach and I put the work in intentionally, a lot of times we go through the motions and we say we're working and we're not. So with intention and just completely focused on where we were supposed to go, then that made it a little bit more possible and believable to accomplish it. And I sometimes we go into something not believing that we can do it, and then then we start getting injured and things start happening, or there's other challenges in our lives where we say, you know what, it wasn't a good time. I only had 6 months of training. I can't do this. And this happened, this happened, this happened. So you have to keep all of that at bay when it's going to attack you, like you said.
Yes. So when you start looking in your life, what was the point that you decided that I have to take care of this in order to get that? Because you knew what you wanted to get. You knew what you wanted to thrive toward. What was it at that point that you said, I have to take care of this part of me? And how did you take care of that part of you?
So how did I take care of me? I was always fueled and motivated by, you can't do this, the naysayers, the doubters. And that was because that's how I was brought up. Nothing was ever good enough. And it usually resulted in a beatdown, more chores and ridicule, right? And shaming. And so I had the screw you mentality where I would always say, I'm going to show you that I'm worthy. I'm going to show you that I matter. I'm going to show you that I can get this done. And that's what fueled me. And I realized not too long ago that that's not real. Like that fueled me in business, that fueled me in my athletics, that fueled me in everything. That when there was doubt put on from others, that was a motivating factor. But I've realized now that that's exhausting. When you let what other people dictate how you're going to respond to accomplish a goal, it's tiring. And where there's danger is you don't recognize the journey. You don't recognize the life lessons along the way, and you just have blinders on the whole way, and you're not able to enjoy the experience. And so like I was always on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. I'll show you, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And now when I do set my goals, I realize that I need to enjoy this time. I need to enjoy the people with me along the way, or you could sabotage relationships as well if you don't take care of them, because when there's sacrifices involved, you're sacrificing time with loved ones. So you got to make sure you're taking care of them. And I didn't always do that.
You said a beautiful concept. You said that instead of always going from a fight and a war to prove something to you, I went into, that's okay. I need to thrive on my own. I need to generate. I need to enjoy what I'm doing in order to not only get the success, but also feel good about the success. Because sometimes when we're doing it, I'll show you, it comes from, we'll get the success, we'll win, but there's, that kind of the edginess is always in it. It's like, the suffering I had to create to win, versus what you're sharing is I get to enjoy not only the process as I'm going to win, but I also enjoy when I reach, the goal that I wanted to do.
Yes.
You,
It's important that and again, this is relatively new, and where I got some help, in 2019 is through therapy. And what I didn't have was self-love. I didn't have self-compassion. I didn't love the younger self. I didn't love the younger me that was ridiculed, beat down, shamed. And I just, if I told you some of these stories, there would be jaw dropping about what some of the things that I went through, but I would tell it matter of factly. If you told me a story, it was, about a young boy, I would be in tears, because that's where I was lacking in the self-love. Like, I would tell it matter of factly, and there was no empathy.
mm-hmm.
When I look back now, what I now realize was pretty horrific, that I care.
Yes. Yes. Well, everyone, Thriving in the Storm, 9 Principles to Help You Overcome Any Adversity by Bill Murphy. Let's talk about the 9 principles. How did you formulate the 9 principles?
It was a lot of work, a lot of trial and error. I've been to a lot of, and I think a lot of people been to workshops or seminars or courses, and they say goals, 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 goals. Write your goals down. Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in? And I was like, there's something missing with that. I'm a goal setter, but there's always something missing as part of the goal setting process. And I think that's the reason that we're held back. So one of the things that I realized is we set all these goals up, but we don't take care of what happened in the past. If there was a trauma, whether it was heavy or if it was inconsequential, but if there was some stuff that happened that we don't deal with, that could be a reason that we're held back from those goals, and we never hit those goals, and we're not on pace there. So that first piece of the book was make peace with your past. So uncover some of the things that you may have gone through in your life. Forgive yourself. That's part of the self-love, self-compassion. Start that self-love process if you don't, or you're struggling there, and forgive the person or people in your lives that wronged you. And that's really hard to do. And if you can do that, then take it a step further and send blessings.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can send those blessings to that person that wronged you, the universe is going to take care of you, and you're going to watch good things. You're letting go of that baggage. You're letting go of all that heaviness, and you'll start to see some beauty and some things you may not have seen before if you can do that.
And it takes a letting go, right? So in order to even there's a fight that happens at the beginning when you say like the tug of war concept, that it could be the fight that I'm going to show you, or I've been wrong. Then you said that the process goes into, okay, maybe I can forgive you, and we're still holding a little bit of that until we finally let go of the war and we're both holding the space. And you're saying, even if it's possible if that's possible, great. But if that's not even possible for you, can you just let go of the rope and just say, I wish you love, and be complete with it, versus hold yourself in this kind of a tug of war? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, exactly. What does a grudge do?
Mhm, mhm.
A grudge is hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself if you have ill will towards somebody. So you got to let it go. Like, you hear the phrase, karma's going to get you, or karma's a bee, or whatever. You hear these phrases, and it's like, you can't root for bad things to happen to other people. That will come back to you in a bad way.
Mhm, mhm. So as you allow this space to go from the tug of war, from the anger, from holding, to a space of love, release, um, and then that's where you can begin looking at thriving, which is the other aspects of your book. Please share more about the principles.
Yeah. So the three mindsets that we talk about is the victim mindset. And that's really where you're hurting. That's really where you've been knocked down big time, and you are struggling getting up or getting out of bed. And you could be depressed, sad, angry, hostile. And you hold these feelings in, and it's really hard to be in a mindset of creation, or motivation, or wanting to do anything. So then you have those that are just coasting. They're on autopilot. They're not enjoying life. They're just going through the motions. They're showing up for work. They're punching out of work. They may have their, 3 glasses of wine or a 6-pack of beer every single night just to kind of deal with stuff, but they're just getting by. There's not really any goal for them. They're surviving, right? Hey, how you doing? I'm surviving. I'm getting by. Like, you hear that often. It's really true. And then, if you're able to get past those two mindsets, the way to do that is live in these high level of emotions and feelings, and that's peace, love, happiness, joy, enthusiasm, zest for life. And if you can start to feel those feelings, even if you're in that victim mindset or you're in that survival mode, and you start to feel those feelings, then you can start to enjoy yourself a little bit more. And the way to do that is, if I find, and for myself, and this is what I practice, is my blessings. We talked about that earlier. Is, what am I grateful for? What am I thankful for? Every single morning. And our blessings are free, most of them. And it's the love in your life. It's your children. It's your significant other. It's your family. It's your work. It's the roof over your head, the air you breathe. It's all these things where you can start to change your mindset, but your physiology as well. When you start to go from anger and depression and sadness to happiness, joy, and peace.
Yes, yes. And that happiness, joy, and peace is where the thriving actually happens.
Exactly.
The lightness happens. That's where, when your mind is actually quiet and in this resting peaceful place, that it's almost like, okay, creativity can show up. Generativity can show up, ideas can show up, because you're no longer fighting in your head constantly in battle in somewhere. So it's like calming the body down, calming the mind down first, into a space of almost like a land. Maybe people who do gardening, they can understand, like, you have to have the land ready before you can have a fruit tree there or a flower bloom there. And if the land is toxic, you're not going to have that. So if we also look at in our mind that if we're constantly fighting about something in the past or at the present moment, that the ideas and the energy to be able to move forward, it's going to be restricted. But when you calm that place down and open it with this light that you were sharing, then generativity can be there and the thriving can be there.
Yes. And we've heard it before that our feelings can make us sick, right? When we're down and out, we start to feel tired. We start to feel lethargic. We start to feel like maybe there's a cold coming on, or the flu or whatever, because of how we're feeling. So if our low level of emotions, the sadness, the anger, the hostility, the depression can make us feel sick, well, then what's peace, joy, love, and happiness going to do? It's going to make you feel well and motivated and wanting to go do great things.
Mm-hmm.
The creativity.
Absolutely. So how has the way that you have shifted internally has helped you in your life, and as you're helping others in your book, to take the next process of thriving? Because one is opening the space, generating, and having the flow. Now that you are there, what are the next steps that you've created in your life, and as you're sharing it with others in the book?
Yeah, I've never ever been happier in my life than I am now because of the work that I did, and that started with the making peace with past. Like, I didn't hold ill will, but I wasn't forgiving of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a burden on me. And I kept a lot of angst and tension where I was not really great to be around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so once I learned to do that, and that's the self-compassion, I was able to take care of others in a much better way. And so that's what I'm practicing. And I practice it every day. I mean, I have to be mindful of it because it's, we're just a few years into this mindset routine.
Yes. And how do you set up your routine that has worked for you?
I get up super early and I get a lot of things done before the world is awake. And when I go to bed,
4, 5 a.m.
Well, so when I'm training, it's usually like a 3:30, because it's a lot of training. So, but what I do is I'm very intentional on my routine. My routine is the same every day. It's some breath work in the morning. I try to do some Wim Hof. I pray. I read the Bible. I journal. I do a little bit of work when I'm having my coffee, and then I'm into my workout. I'm done with my workout, and then it's off to work. And that's kind of how I set my day up every day. And that's part of the ingredients of not having bad days. Yeah. Because what I'm doing, I feel like I'm building that fortress. I'm preparing when the stress happens during the day that I'm in a good space. I've journaled. I've wrote what I was grateful for. I've sent my blessings out into the universe, and I was thankful. So and I had a good workout. And when stuff happens in life and work and it becomes tumultuous, or there's issues or challenges or obstacles during the day that we have every day, that I'm able to handle it much better than I was. So getting up early is very, very impactful. But here's the other thing. I try to bookend the day. So when I close out the day, I try not to eat at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. I try to make sure that I have a good routine. I don't watch TV. I might watch a ball game, but I won't watch TV. I won't binge watch. I won't watch news. I won't put stuff in my mind or be subjected to just negativity out there. I try to shut down my emails and by 8 o'clock every night. I mean, try 7, but sometimes it gets a little, emails and texts. I really stop. I put my phone on silence after 8 o'clock, and the only people that can get a hold of me are, usually is my family and my kids. And so that helps me every single day get through a day when there's some, tough stuff thrown at us.
And what you're saying is that I bookended by, in the middle, it's working and doing all of that. But at the beginning and at the end, it's going in and taking care of this vessel, the body, taking care of my psyche, taking care of my emotions. So when all of that is, then it's sleeping which again is a different level of taking care of me and bringing, the information from the day into the system, and then, getting myself ready, getting intentional about what I want to create it, then go in, check it out. And that's the bookending of both sides being taken care of, mind, body, and emotion. It just seems like it's really working to create that thriving. Thank you so much, Bill. If anything we haven't said that you really want people to know.
I would really focus on that part where if you have these ambitions, make sure that you look, if you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve, look at why you were held back. Look at what may have stopped you and peel that back a little bit. That's a good way to start, to say, you know what? I was bullied in the 3rd grade and I didn't realize that this is affecting me on going after what I really want now, today, whatever it may be. And so you may not even thought about it in 20 years, but it could be something insignificant, seemingly insignificant, that has that consequence of pulling you back.
Yes. Well, Thriving in the Storm, 9 Principles to Help You Overcome Any Adversity by Bill Murphy. Bill, thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed conversing with you and reading your book, and I'm positive that people will gain a lot about what they could do, how they can do it, reading your book. Thank you for the time that you've allowed with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And for all of you who are out there, create an amazing life for yourself and everyone around you. And until next week, bye-bye.
Eliminate stress, reduce anxiety, and decrease depression. Dr. Foojan Zeine's awareness integration theory has helped thousands like you get incredible life-changing results. The Foojan app gives you her evidence-based treatment in the palm of your hand. Download today.